an absolute monster of a game earlier on in the day, and can overpower on his trusty Mordekaiser, bring up the goods once again for the Polish squad. We're going to find out here in the next few minutes. Let's talk about level 1. Will we see anything come down from these two teams with that Blitzcrank there to pull anyone around?
Well, you've stolen the words from me, because the team that is most likely to set something up would be the likes of Millenium. They're the sole LCS team that has made plays in the early game. They're not afraid to get engaged. You can actually see J-Rees hanging down in the bottom lane rather, going to line up for a blind rocket grab. You see that going in. Salivar a little bit aware of the potential and not even at risk. I think Millenium are the only team that has done this in a large number of their games. Try to roam, try to invade. It hasn't necessarily always worked out for them, but it's good that they're at least trying.
Well, Jerry's not done just yet. He's actually moving once again into the back of that Dragon Pit to see if there are any pickings for him. Vander's actually sat back by Wraiths, and there goes another rocket grab. To no avail, though, for Millenium, and I think with that, they're just going to end up backing away from things completely.
So there's two things I want to point out about that. Not only did Jerry try and not succeed, 2 rocket grabs burns through his entire mana pool at this stage of the game. So the rocket grabs are going to happen in lane and in his opening 5 to 10 minutes are so crucial for Jerry to land. But what is good is Vander on Annie is a fairly easy target to hit. There's no mobility spells on that Annie. She's not going to be able to dodge unless she flashes. So assuming J-Ree's, on point with that rocket grab, that could be where they secure themselves an advantage.
So we're back into game now. Roccat versus Millenium. You saw Aranea on your screen there doing his red buff for the very first time in this one. Jankos doing similar over on the top side of his jungle. Blue buff pick up for him. And they'll move over the other side of the map. This top lane then, Mundo versus Aatrox. A matchup which, just Aatrox in particular, becoming more and more of a regular fixture in this top lane. When it came to the second half of the split last year, had a woeful time. But Roccat have already shown today a massive win against Gambit. Now we're going to get back into the game against Millenium. Hopefully we continue that way.
Yeah, and I said this earlier today, and I want to reiterate it as well. I feel like Rockat's negative streak over the last 5 games is a slump in performance. They did take a small vacation. They weren't practicing or scrimming maybe quite as effectively as they could have been. Unfortunately, we do have another pause.
He does, and he actually takes a turret hit for the fun of it there as well as he got knocked into range. Nice little move by Kurt. The reactions of a man with a trackball. I still cannot believe that happened.
Look at the damage.
Yeah, this is a lot of damage right underneath the turret. His barrier's going to get popped there. And actually a lot of damage coming down on towards Jerry. That passive forced it to come out, and that is the danger of the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, and the range coming up from Sullivan and Vander. They just poked him down. No overpowers in trouble. Here comes Aranea.
Oh, nice flash though. We saw the dash to the ward from Aranea and flash straight over the top of the queue from Overpower. Could have tried to dodge the backside of it, but honestly, if that ever happened, he may just have been dead if that would have landed onto him. So, good decision, I think, in the end, but also leaves a nice, juicy opportunity for first blood again for Millenium in the mid lane.
Better safe than sorry, and after that extended pause, we see a lot of aggressive plays coming up from these teams. I think with Kurt being on Ziggs and having the immense advantage in the mid lane in these early levels. He's got, a lot of range to work with. He's got the additional damage from his short fuse passive is just going to be poking Overpower down, and all of the bouncing bombs means Overpower's going to need some time to get back in this lane. You have to give Overpower props for being even on CS against Kerp on Ziggs, who actually has a lot more tools to work with in that mid lane to keep him zoned, keep him controlled, and keep him down.
So a ward being put down, pings coming in from Roccat. They actually saw that one place there, so Jankos knows that there's no free path in to that top lane to have a go at Kevin. We see there in the bottom lane the exchange once again, but I feel for Jerry in this scenario. If you're on form with someone like Blitzcrank, it can feel like the best day for you, but if you miss a couple in a row, you suddenly go into a position where you're not feeling so confident about landing the hooks.
Yeah, that rocket grab was just a little bit out of distance. You see, Aranea was waiting in the tri-bush, so if it had connected, it would have had some damage to work with. Now, thanks to a good little ward in the river, Overpower's going to be aware of Aranea's position, so he's going to back away and try play this one a little bit more passive, a little more defensively. We see Sullivan and Vander very, very aggressive in this bottom lane. They're shoving in the wave, trying to keep Creatine and J-Re against their tower. They've got some good vision in the river to play with. And it's already showing there's about a 10 CS difference between these two.
And I was actually talking to Creatine and Aranea earlier on outside, and I just a little bit about the bottom lane matchup, really, and about Forgiven and Unlimited in the Copenhagen Wolves. And what he said was, it's the most horrible feeling in the world to be pushed against your tower and falling behind as a bottom lane, where you realize that if you don't get kills, you're going to actually lose the game. And right now, Roccat are going in to go for that first blood. There's a lot of damage onto Jerry. Vander gets some back. Jerry's not dead here. Finally shut down by Celiva. He nets off into the brush. Creatin's going to chase in here. Vander's surely going to be forced to flash away. He will be, but Celiva, he's going north. He actually was spotted there. Now Arenea's coming in from the side. Celiva's not going to escape this one, but they did get first blood.
So 1 for 1 at the end of the day. Celiva was forced to flash and barrier to make that work for his favor. He gets the kill, whereas the kill credit for Millenium goes to Arenea. We'll see if Ara can actually make some more ganks work for him and use that goal to his advantage, but a very aggressive Roccat. The Jankos and Elise, he flashed Cocoon. That was a point-blank Cocoon. He didn't want minions to get in the way. He wanted a no-risk, guaranteed lockdown.
And almost went a bit pear-shaped for him having to repel out of that one. They obviously lost their AD carry as well, with Annie having to flash away, but a first blood is a first blood, and that has given a BF sword over to Celiva as he comes back into that lane, still with a CS advantage. This is where I'm really interested to see, now that lane's reset itself in the center, who gets the upper hand now that they're back in duo versus duo?
Well, Celiva with the BF sword. The simple fact of the matter is that Creatin's not going to be able to outtrade him. And as long as Celiva uses the range to his advantage, gets some auto attacks down once he clears this wave out, I think Creatin and Jerry are going to have a fairly difficult time in this lane. Celiva got the kill at precisely the right moment. He had just enough money to get himself a nice big advantage in terms of auto attack damage. And we'll see how they play it out. As you mentioned, we do see Vander and Celiva about to hit levels, getting close to level 6. They've just hit level 5 actually. And once they get to that burst potential, they can kill Jerry and Creatin.
Yeah, going to be there before Jerry and Creatin at this rate as well. Both of them, as you said, at level 5. No flash though for Vander, which makes it a little bit less dangerous when they see that they've hit level 6. They can keep that distance on them, knowing that any flash Tibbers is not going to come their way. There we see blue buff actually going over on towards Jankos, simply for the fact that Overpower doesn't need it really in that mid lane.
So the one thing that I think Millenium need to try to avoid as this game is going to start to progress is maybe trying to avoid being caught in the open. I think that Millenium will do fairly well defending their towers. They can grab members of Roccat thanks to having Lee Sin that can jump in. You get a minefield, in and amongst someone for Roccat and then land a rocket grab. We do see right now, thanks to Millenium backing away, this tower is going to fall down before the 8-minute mark, before that damage reduction can even come into effect. And actually, now that I think about it, the damage reduction is only on the mid and top towers. It's not on the bottom lane. So BF sword plus range versus a melee support just means Roccat get a very, very early gold lead, and are going to allow Roccat to continue pressuring down Creatin and Jerry.
Blue buffs here going to be going over on Millenium's side of the map to Kerp in the mid lane. Of course, Jankos took his for himself a little bit earlier on, and we'll see how Kerp can make that work in the mid lane up against Overpower on Mordekaiser. Arenea actually just hanging around there by the river. I think he thought that someone was going to try and come in and maybe have a bit of a snatch at the blue buff that was already taken, of course, but that wasn't even the case because Jankos had already backed away, going home to shop to pick himself up that Spirit Stone. This top lane we talked quite a lot about in the pregame and how Kevin's statistics are up there as the best right now on a lot of fronts. Currently he does have a healthy CS lead over Mondo. Yeah,
the question is, how does he make it work? He's got himself that Vamp Scepter versus the Giant's Belt of Xaxus, so Kevin's going to need to get a little bit more attack damage. We've seen Freddy, if memory serves, going for Blade of the Ruined King, as opposed to the likes of a Ravenous Hydra or the Tiamat, for example, which isn't a possibility. And starting with Vamp Scepter, I think Kevin's going to go for that Blade of the Ruined King. It'll do a lot of damage against Xaxus on Dr. Mundo. Now that Millenium are missing the tower in the bottom lane, it's going to open them up. If Celiva and Vander keep pushing that wave down, Jankos can come in from behind, can come from the tri-bush. Overpower could do similar. He could roam. He's very good at shoving that lane. You see that Overpower's not missing too many CS in the lane against Kerp, and I think he's done very well to survive that laning phase where Kerp on Ziggs has a pretty clear advantage.
Not just surviving, doing really well with it there as well. As we see Cleaver, or the briefcase in this case, landing on towards Kevin. Kevin just using that dark flight to get back behind the barrier of minions and keep himself a little bit more healthy. Arenea's actually come down to the tri-bush. I'm not sure that is in for much of a look-in here, to be honest. And, well, he's not going to recall. He was just testing out, I think, whether Roccat themselves were going to head back or push forward when they saw that recall was coming down. Jerry's currently spinning circles. We'll see if he does decide to pop that W and sprint in for a grab. There is a grab, and he's managed to pull Vander in. Tibbers is available. They throw it down onto him. There is a cocoon coming in on towards Aranea, and in the end, there's a lot used, but no kills.
No, counter gank was there for Jankos. If Jankos had not been in range, Millenium may have decided to continue the pressure down. The Tibbers was good. It stunned up at least 2 members. The hook, that was a little too far, and unfortunately did not connect for Millenium. Now, Millenium are looking like they want to challenge. Rocket Grab has a fairly high cooldown, so Jerry's not going to have it immediately, and this Dragon's going quick.
It is going very quick, but Aranea looking to get around the side. There is the Super Mega, no, the bomb, whatever, is coming down. Cully comes in from Clinton as well. They actually held so long off finishing that Dragon because of the presence of Millenium. So well played by Roccat.
Yeah, Millenium never really committed for that one. You know, the Dragon was started, there was multiple members of Roccat in the pit, and Millenium just didn't have the tools. If you look at their comp, Blitzcrank, if he doesn't grab somebody and pull him towards you, he doesn't offer a huge amount in their pit. He's got an AoE silent, sure, but then that's it. Lee Sin and Lucian, they didn't have the tools available, and unfortunately, Millenium were unable to get their hands on it. Now the rest of Roccat get a little bit of damage on this mid turret. Cocoon goes wide, and as it stands, Roccat with a healthy 1,500 gold. They got the first tower and the first dragon of the game.
This is important now, though. We see that Kerp is actually recalling at this stage. Aranea's on the top side. Kerp has gone, and that actually leaves 3 men in the mid lane for Roccat to have a go onto this middle outer turret. Jankos is taking the race on the top side. Meanwhile, the turret is going to start taking a bit of damage. Jerry and Aranea have come around to try and save that one. Kevin has even dropped down from the top lane as a cocoon lands onto him. He will dark fly over the wall, and I think that leaves him off to safety. Of course, does have his Bloodwell passive in case things really go badly for him. In the end, not too much damage onto the turret. Roccat back out.
Very good play from Roccat to at least apply pressure to that lane. It forced Kevin to actually come down from the top lane, which meant he wasn't applying pressure or damage on Xazus' tower. If a fight had broken out, teleport was available for Xazus on that Dr. Mundo, and we did see some very good positional play there from Roccat. They didn't get enough time on the tower, and it didn't work out for them. And interestingly, Kevin's actually gone the route of a Ravenous Hydra. He's picked up a Tiamat first after that Blade of the Ruined King. So what we may be seeing from Millenium is a split push Aatrox. He's got a lot of wave clear. He's maxed his Blades of Torment, the E, so it's going to have a lot of wave clearing potential. And of course, the sustain and the Dark Flight allows Kevin to get out of sticky situations if he gets caught in it.
And speaking of different paths, looking at the supports, which is now in slightly nullified because the Sightstone did come in for Vander, but we saw him going with that coin first of all, getting things rolling there, but I think more importantly, working his way quickly up towards that Talisman of Ascension, and the fact that they have a team that needs to be able to chase in all the time.
Yeah, and that's the power of the Roccat composition. If they get the Talisman of Ascension, they throw down the Dr. Mundo ultimate, and you have Mordekaiser and Elise running you down, in addition to maybe a Flash Tibbers or the stun from Vander. That is how Roccat will be looking to engage their fights. On the other side, Millenium have tools to deal with that. Blades of Torment from Aatrox can slow, Aranea can kick them backwards, and they're hoping Kerp lands some good disengage from the Satchel Charge and the Minefield. So it's going to be very important to see how they play the positional game. And just like we talked about in the pre-game, we've seen with Overpower playing Ziggs last time these teams met, Overpower went for that Spirit of Spectral Wraith. Kerp has done the same job this time round, and we will keep tabs on how much extra gold he's got. He only picked it up recently, 80 gold right now.
Let's have a look down CS here because they're so incredibly close, especially between the mid laners and the AD carries. 107 to 105 from the bot lane, 131 to 131. Bang level in the mid lane. We just saw an ace in the hole being used there by Creaton, actually just in the point where Jankos was coming around the side. Aranea was already waiting up on that brush, so nothing really to talk about there. One thing that there is to talk about, though, the lead that Roccat have right now, 1,500 gold in their favor. You can see that they've already got some deep wards in on this bottom lane. With that mid turret, you'd expect is going to be the next target. I don't see Xazus being able to bully Kevin out of this top lane for now, so we'll see how that one all goes.
I anticipate Roccat will try push down that mid lane turret as we get closer to the next dragon. You know, Roccat as a team really like to pick fights around dragon. They like to apply a focus on that objective. They've got the first one of the game, and I think by the time the next one starts being about ready, you see the countdown timer is just loaded on your screen, 2 minutes to go. Roccat will most likely try to get the tower and then go for Dragon. Alternatively, if Millenium get a position for the Dragon and Roccat feel the tower is available, you could see a trade, which is something we actually see fairly often at this level of play.
Right, between the AD carries as well, pretty much even. Bloodthirster for both. The Berserker Grief's already done on the left-hand side of your screen for Celiver. He's slightly ahead on that one, although I'm imagining that Creaton by now will have enough gold to head up towards those. If we look down the mid laners as well, the Hextech Gunblade here is done for Overpower. Puts him at a, for this stage of the game, 16 minutes in, a scary prospect to be fighting up against.
Yeah, when you consider there's no MR on anybody on the opposing team. When you see Celiver's caught.
Oh, it's a little bit awkward there for Celiver. Aranea came straight over the wall, pretty much face checked straight into him. That's got the AD carry low. Still a minute though, so actually Celiver could go home and walk back in towards the Dragon area for this next fight. They're actually putting Pinks in there to get control of that Tribush as well as the bottom side of the map here with that Dragon so close to spawning in. Going to be interesting to see how this one all develops there. Vander going home for now. Aranea going to do the same. Kevin's actually just leveled up the tower score by taking out the outer turret in that top lane, and that's again perfect timing for him to say I can walk down. Zaza's looking like he can stay. He's got teleport. He can push that lane out whilst Kevin will have to walk down to get involved.
And that's probably why Kevin is trying to shove this lane down right now. We'll see if Millenium really want to go for the Dragon the moment it spawns. Nobody from Roccat is poising themselves for a Dragon play right now, except Janko's getting a little bit close. The rest of Millenium, however, they do seem to be grouping. J-Re and Kerb moving towards that area. Rocket Crab, that was a little late. I think J-Re needed to fire that a tiny bit sooner if he wanted to try and make something happen. Now we see it's very clear. Millenium want this Dragon. Roccat are going to have to challenge.
Well, they're walking through a Hextech minefield, which is exactly what it says on the tin. A minefield as we get hits on towards Jankos there. Lots of health taken away. Zazas actually TPing down from this one. Good Cocoon comes on towards Creaton. There is Tibbers. Jerry going low. Overpower is blowing them to pieces in the middle there. Can they get any more? Kevin's right in the middle. He will dive over the back to pick up the kill on towards Jankos. His Bloodwell's pop. Zazas is low. Celiver's going to be low here. Millenium are going to pick up more kills. Overpower's going to fall in the end to Q from Aranea. And that is the first ace of the game. 5 for 2 in the end. It looked like it started horribly for Millenium, but they had so much more damage.
Millenium, that's exactly it. They had a clustered group of their teammates all focusing down multiple targets of Roccat. Not only did Overpower use his ultimate on the support, but you just see the rest of Millenium. They really focused down together. That's 4 members of Millenium grouped up nice and tight. Kevin is about to join. Tibbers does catch Creaton, which is very, very important. It stuns him up. But it took a while for anybody to try to focus him. Now, the rest of Roccat are backing away, and a Blitzcrank Ghost is not a threatening ghost at all.
No.
Kevin eventually gets to the fight, and you just see Creaton and Kerb in the back line. They were not focused at all. They weren't afraid of Celivar's damage. Kerb finishing him off. Aranea gets the last hit with that Sonic Wave. It was a very good fight because of how tight the Millenium team was. They could focus Roccat down, and Roccat just didn't burst out the right champions.
Scary times in the game, to be honest, for Roccat, seeing that happening for them. Millenium take a nice, healthy gold lead. We're 18:45 into this one. One thing that always I worry about for Millenium is when they get ahead, how do they get that lead really pushing forward and snowball into a fact where they're really feeling ahead? Because I feel like Millenium, when they're ahead, they feel like they're less ahead than some of the other teams who will take a small lead and turn it into a win.
Now, luckily for Millenium, they've tried a different recipe for this game. They've got the Blitzcrank as their we're ahead, let's try grab somebody now. And I'd like to see them actually try make that work. Put themselves in positions where they're challenging for blues, pushing for towers or something, and then letting J-Re find a hook. Even if J-Re doesn't necessarily land a hook to kill somebody, the threat or the pressure of him chasing them down can force Roccat to, take unnecessary damage, allow Kerb to zone them out. A couple good bouncing bombs, that can lead to a tower.
This top lane, basically Zazas and Kevin continuing that tug of war of the minions, pushing them back and forth. and really just kind of going in, coming back out once again as they get pushed away. Overpower in the meantime did start to wander up through his own jungle, but he's quite happy to keep his farm going. 189 to the 204 of Kerp right now, who we saw in that last fight landed some great bouncing bombs, great satchel charge as well to pin Caitlyn against the wall. He's got himself that Athene's Unholy Grail and a blasting one now added in from earlier. Just want to touch on the top lane for Aatrox with the Ravenous Hydra. Yeah, actually Overpower's going to take a lot of damage from this one. Knockup comes down. He's not going to be able to survive it. It's RNA that picks up that kill. Looked too easy, to be honest.
It really was. I think Millenium just caught Overpower out of position. If you look at the vision for Roccat, it was all at the top half of the jungle and not close enough to him. So Overpower just a tiny bit too deep in his own side of the map. And Millenium, they did a good job there, grabbing themselves a fairly easy kill. The thing is, it hasn't equated to anything more. Millenium got a kill on Overpower. They weren't grouped up enough to try and push down a tower, and you see Creatine and J-Re now still trying to get some damage on the last outer turret remaining for Roccat.
He's going to come through. He's going to have to be fast. I mean, he can repel out of the rocket grab. Roccat. That's going to catch me out a couple of times from this one. See if it catches Roccat out at the same time. But he can repel away from that one constantly if he's fast enough on the buttons, which, to be honest, we've seen that Trankov definitely is.
Oh, yes. He has the outplay potential, but even in a situation like that, you know, he's one of the champions where you can actually allow yourself to get caught, land a cocoon, and then repel away. You know, there's those tools available for Roccat to play with, and it's part of the reason I quite like the Mundo and the Mordekaiser lock-ins, which came as their last picks. It's champions that you want to be in the fray, you want to be surrounded. Mundo, in particular, with his burnout and his immense HP, and then with Overpower, if he gets his creeping death and gets some good Mace of Spades down in the team, his shield is going to be stacked up, and he's going to be able to, you know, do a pretty good job at creating chaos in those situations. Vander's about to find Aranea.
Well, no, he's about to find what looks like his death, to be honest with you. 3 of them coming in. He's going to throw Tibbers down. Can he escape it, though? His flash is not coming off cooldown just yet. There is the damage coming in. Aranea finishes off. Rocket grab doesn't land, but it's a kill where Vander was just out of position, frankly. Yeah,
Millenium at the right place at the right time. They had all of their members grouping to apply. Wards get some vision in that Dragon Pit. You see is 2 minutes, about a minute and a half away from spawning when that started. Vander, he just didn't have the tools to play with. He didn't have the wards. Now, after that kill, Millenium have grouped up in the mid lane. They are the ones going for the 1-3-1 push. Kevin pushing top, Creatine pushing bottom. The rest of Millenium, they were in mid, but now they're backing away. They've pulled some Rocket members towards them and going to spend some of the money they've earned.
Down in the bottom lane, this is an interesting one. We see that Creatine has crept up ahead in CS, but not got a kill to his name as of yet. 7 assists. I'm sure he would have liked if 2 or 3 or maybe 4 or 5 of those, or 6 or 7 were actually in his kill column by now. Got himself that Bloodthirster, working himself up onto the Trinity Force as well. Selva gone with a Bloodthirster and a Zeal up until now. Yeah, that'd be an interesting 1v1 for now.
Creatine has enough money to finish off that Trinity Force. I think he's sitting at about 2,200 odd gold. He's got the makings of that Triforce already, and thanks to the fully stacked Bloodthirster and Sheen, he's actually trading very efficiently with Celebar. We do see he's not backed off just yet, gonna go for another Dragon. I don't think anyone from Roccat can challenge this one, and this is an uncontested Dragon. Very smart play from Millenium. They got vision earlier, they were able to bully Roccat away, and they just started at the instant it came up.
This is the retort, though, from Roccat going in for that top lane. And, well, for now, not much of one. Not a finisher, at least, but another wave of minions is coming around. And in the end, Xaxus actually leaves that one. Wasn't quite sure if the minions were enough to top that one off and actually take it. What they are going to be able to take, though, is the blue buff. Aranea says, thank you very much, J-Re. That's very nice of you. Blue buff is going to be taken away by Aranea. And that hit squad just backs away onto their own side of the map, with actually 4 people from Roccat starting to close into them, and Jerry will be saying, I told you that was smart.
Now, I'd like to see them continue doing that. If you look at all of the champions on Millenium's side, they've all hit very good power spikes. Kevin has had that Ravenous Hydra for a while. He's got a Spirit Visage in his kit. The Death Cap has now been completed for Kerp. He's currently sitting on a bonus of 500 gold on that Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, so starting to pay some dividends. And with Creatine getting his Trinity Force, they're all now in these plateau moments where they've hit a spike and they need to take advantage of it. Millenium have already won a couple of team fights and found picks. Now let's see them siege and use J-Re's Rocket Cap to its fullest potential.
I wish we could see the accuracy of those grabs from J-Ree actually, and see what he's been pulling in and what he's been throwing wide of the target. The longer this game goes on, of course, the more they're going to become of importance for them, especially when it comes to their siege times and when they're being chased. Because the last thing you want to do, I mean, it's all well and good landing the grabs, but you don't particularly want to pull Mordekaiser or Mundo into the rest of your team. He tries one there on towards Jankos, doesn't quite land.
Now, the previous team fight, we actually seen Kerp and Creatine relatively unchallenged, and J-Ree's hook was enough to burn a flash from Roccat. Now, in this situation, allowing Kerp to poke down with those bouncing bombs and try get some damage on Roccat, and ideally having J-Ree looking for either Celiva or Vanda or Jankos to try and burst them down is a perfect position. Roccat have split themselves up. Look, they don't want to be behind the tower. The risk is too great either for poke or for the hook.
They're going to go for you from this one. We see the RNA throwing those Qs out, Kerp, trying to keep the men behind the turret zone as much as they can. There is the kick, actually knocking Bender back away. Creatine's gone low, Kerp is very low. There is a shutdown. Mordekaiser, a beast in the middle. They do manage to take the Kevin low, and it's Creatine that they've got the ghost from. That's a scary ghost to be chasing you. It's all about the briefcases now. Does he manage to slow down Kevin? RNA will dash off to him though, and that will lead them into safety. That was a 2-for-1 in the end.
Very good engage from Roccat. Vanda came in with that flash, Tibbers coming down, and very importantly, Overpower got Children of the Grave on the right target. He didn't put it on J-Ree this time. He also had a Deathfire Grasp as well as that Hextech Gunblade active to burst Creatine down. Watch Creatine's HP as Overpower just runs straight for him, immediately focusing him down. We do see Overpower going a little bit further forward. I think it was just one more spell cast that was required. In the background, you do see Kevin doing the best he can to get a kill, but unfortunately for him, he wasn't powerful enough to keep the rest of Roccat at bay. His knockup was okay, but unfortunately, 1 for 2, Creatine needs to be kept alive in those situations.
Well, Overpower extending his score to 4-2-0 after that, and looking like he's headed up towards that Zhonya's now, picking up a bit of armor. That he's going to be needing that. We saw actually how the ultimate of Creatine just destroyed him on that front side. If he would have actually been behind someone at that point, that fight would have probably gone a little bit further for Roccat. It even leaves us now though at 9-5, 4,000 gold is the advantage for Millenium, and I can never count a Roccat team out. I mean, if we look at that game against Gambit earlier on, longest game that we've seen so far, they were ahead for most of it, then all of a sudden they were 4,000 gold behind after losing a Baron, or even 2 Barons in a row, I think it was, from that one. In the end though, they ended up picking that one out, and they're a team that has a lot of spirit for a team that's, now, I want to say less experienced somehow than a team like Millenium, which is certainly true to some extent. They've been on the top level for a little bit less time. They've got a lot of character, and you can never count them out.
No, you definitely can't. And I think part of the reason, oh, Jankos almost got caught out there. I think part of the reason that team fight went badly for Millenium is they didn't have the vision they needed to work with. They were working under the assumption that Roccat were scared of their poke and scared of their hooks, and basically counted out the ability of a flash Tibbers or a flash engage from Roccat. So what Millenium need to do is get better vision in the jungle, better vision around the turret they want to siege, and then they can sit quite safely.
We've also seen the Talisman of Ascension being picked up here, which is a great bit of kit for them moving forward. So, what else have we got being picked up on the other side? A turret, first of all, for Millenium on the bottom side of the map, the third and final outer turret of the game from them. It leaves them 5,000 gold behind, but that allows them to get that vision that you were talking about a little bit deeper into the Roccat jungle and see if they can get J-Ree landing some hooks onto the right people.
Very importantly, Creatine has grabbed himself a Quicksilver Sash. So if Overpower jumps onto him with that Children of the Grave, Creatine's going to be able to get rid of it. Let's look for the rocket grab.
Oh, Celiva, a little bit of a dangerous position, but actually they're not going to chase too far. Aranea was the one going in, the net actually landing on towards J-Ree to slow him right down, stop the overall chase from that one. If his Talisman would have been finished, that could have been a different story. Top lane, though, we do see the third and final outer turret for Roccat now going down, which means the outer ring on both sides of the map is gone, and Roccat are making a play for the inner.
Yeah, Roccat are forcing Millenium to choose. What do they want to do? Roccat are going to go for the top inner turret while Millenium get the dragon. I actually think Roccat are going to be happy with this trade because the map presence is theirs. They are going to get this tower down. Kevin can't do anything to stop it.
No, can't really do much about that one. They would have tanked it up even if the minions had have gone down. Good play from Roccat. Although Millenium, as you mentioned, did pick up the Dragon in that one. They're going to lose a red buff for the same token as this Roccat, moving down towards that middle area. And Millenium actually making a play on the opposite side of the map now for that bottom inner tower.
The thing is, I think Roccat are aware of this. They set their sights and created a J-Re, and if they get the kills, they're going on the turret as well.
Oh, J-Re could be in trouble from this one. Actually, he's going to speed by, but Overpower's already in there. There is the ace in the hole coming through. And they do get the ghost. As you said, it's not a scary one. It's more of a friendly ghost at this point. The fact is, though, it's going to be tanking up that inner tower in the middle lane. And whilst Millenium have got the inner tower on the bottom lane, Roccat keep powering on.
Yeah, right now, Roccat, they don't want to be in a situation where they can get hooked and die or take too much poke from Kerp's Ziggs. Ziggs also just completed a Void Staff on this last back, so his damage is going to be amplified. I like what Rockat's doing is because they're down in gold. They've lost a couple of fights back-to-back, and they know that they've given up a few dragons. So to counteract that and bring themselves back into the game, they grab 2 towers uncontested, and they basically say, we know what Millenium's going to do, we'll play around that and gain advantages in our own map.
2 inner turrets, so that's 1 inner and a dragon, and both buffs from Millenium stolen away there, by the way, both of which did go over onto Celiver. Now, do we start that phase of the game, which we've seen so many teams struggling with and losing games in part due to the dance around Baron? We're going to see Millenium setting up, and I tell you what, it's not much of a dance, is it? It's more of it's one of those awkward first dances where you just get into the action. Straight on towards the Baron there. They pull away, they've gone on towards Zazas. He's not escaping that one. Cocoon has landed on towards Kevin, but I'm not sure what Roccat can do now.
Now, with that hook landing, J-Re's going to try set up another one. They're forcing Rockat's hand. Roccat are moving in. It's a good, sort of scouting ace in the hole, but look at Kerp. He's hopped over the wall. Rest of Millenium, they're not 100% convinced in this one. There is split minds.
And the rewards down, even more importantly for Roccat. They can see, for Millenium, they could see where Roccat will go. And this, though, is interesting because if Roccat see that Millenium have backed away, they might just have a go for it. Overpower had pushed up that middle lane completely. J-Re did stick around there just to make sure that they did have some pressure or presence over the backside of the Baron pit. In the end, Roccat moving in there. They lost Zazas for it, but they stopped Baron happening.
So Millenium not underestimating the power of a Tibbers in that confined space. If Millenium was sitting trying to focus Baron down in the confine, in the entrance to the Baron pit, a Tibbers could stun multiple members of the team. And combine that with the burst that Overpower's putting out, he's got the Deathfire Grasp, he's got a Zhonya's Hourglass, and the Gunblade. There is the possibility to delete somebody on Millenium's team. So they back away, play this one safe. Now, because of the sweeping lenses and the pink wards that they've got in and around the area, Millenium's going to try again. Look for the hook. Jankos, his Banshee spell's been popped. Can Jerry catch him? Yes!
Well, it was hard to miss there, but the repel comes in. Ace in the hole came around the back. Jankos flashes away. Rest of Roccat starting to move in. Zazas has popped his ultimate. Well, there was the counter talisman used by Millenium to rush off to the top side of Baron. In the meantime, Roccat, they look like they were going to make a play on towards the mid lane, or are they just touting for pressure? No, they are going to go mid lane.
So we'll see how Roccat play this one. They really don't want to be sitting in a siege or a counter-siege situation. That is where Millenium's team comp is going to shine wonders. But if Millenium can keep forcing Roccat to check, forcing Roccat to move into the pit, they can wait for a good hook from J-Re. I almost feel like Millenium didn't respond quickly enough to that Jankos hit. Yes, he did repel up, but there was that brief moment or two where maybe the silence from J-Re could have held him in place a little longer. You have to theorize, what if they'd killed him?
What if, but sadly enough, those what ifs don't win you games, because otherwise my record would be a lot better than it is at this stage of things. But J-Re once again clearing out on the backside of Baron Pit. They've got a couple of wards already inside the pit itself, as do Roccat, who are once again going to start moving in position. Sweeper lenses just coming out there and put into use. RNA will just finish that one off, and a double ward, better safe than sorry, from Rockat's side of things, as Vander does finally get himself home to finish off something there with that Giant's Belt. Actually, we did see earlier on the Riley's Crystal Scepter coming out from the support players.
Yeah, and I think that's going to most likely be the exact same item. The slow that it gives you on Tibbers AoE on his sort of built-in Sunfire Cape is very, very effective. And in terms of items, I've just taken a quick look at Kerp's Spectral Wraith. It's already gone at 900 gold. To put it in perspective, RNA has only got plus 500 and Jankos plus 700. So we'll see how this works out for them. Millenium are on the Baron, they've got it low. Jankos is going to challenge, he does have Smite.
Oh, this could be very, very dangerous. They've come off the Baron. Aranea has taken a blast of damage. There's a big silence from Jerry, but I'm not sure it's enough. Jerry's going to go down here. They get his ghost once again. That is going to be a 6-man Roccat team now. The Baron, though, is taken by Millenium. They throw all their damage in there at it. They say you can take the Blitzcrank, but we're going to take Baron.
One for Baron is definitely worth it for Millenium. Now that Baron's on multiple of their members, Millenium need to get control of the game back. They've been trying to pull Roccat towards them so many times over the last 7, 8, 9 minutes, and finally it's paid off, but that was very close. Millenium lost the engage. They didn't manage to get a kill on Jankos. Take a look at the play. What we're really looking for is how quickly Roccat surround Millenium. Millenium are spread out. Jerry, Aranea, Kevin, they're outside the pit. Kerp and Creatine are sitting on, inside because they've got dashes to hop over, and Mega Inferno Bomb is actually what secured it.
They threw everything at it. The Culling went in there as well. Pretty incredible stuff. Nice pickup, and the ghost of JRE just sat all alone. Overpower didn't want anything more to do with it after that had all gone down. So, where does that leave us in the game? 10-17 kills, 61,000 to 54,000 gold in favor of Millenium. The towers on the other side, though, Roccat have a 5-4 advantage on that front. And I wonder how Roccat are going to play these next few minutes. You'd expect a little bit more on the back foot with that Baron buff with Millenium.
The thing is, Roccat have actually tried to not fight Millenium straight up. Roccat have tried to force Millenium to respond by pushing a tower, trying to pull them away from Dragon. Roccat have been sort of face-checking the Baron a little bit because they have to, not necessarily because they really want to force those fights. If Millenium can make Roccat play their game, make Roccat sit at a tower and take Zig's poke as well as, Jerry hooks, that's what they're looking for. You see Millenium, they're grouped up as a 5. They're trying to get down this mid lane. Vander does have Flash, does have Tibbers. This could be a repeat of the 1-for-2 that happened earlier.
Overpower on the top side. Are they going to go for the old pincer movement? Vander at the back there. Flash, as we said, is available. Is he going to take the risk? They pinged onto Vander's head so they know he is in position. And they are going to have complete awareness that that threat is there. They're very worried about moving forward.
There's not enough vision in the jungle in my mind for Millenium. They know where their opponents are, but they haven't necessarily got the strongest wards. Now Roccat have been forced backwards. They don't want to engage on their team with Baron, so Millenium are able to zone Roccat away. It's going to be a little easier for Millenium to do this one. If Overpower comes in from behind, he's looking straight for probably Creatine or Kerp.
Oh, Overpower is going to go straight on towards Kerp. He's going to get him as well. Absolutely destroyed. There is Kevin trying to jump in out towards the back. Sonya's popped by Overpower. We are going to see Celiver getting involved as well. Damage will be caught out though by Kevin. In the end, just a 1 for nothing, but they'll take that any day of the week. That's their siege potential severely hurt.
Yeah, definitely. And because it was on to Kerp, it does mean he's the only real available target. The rest of Roccat are still going to try challenge. Millenium are feeling very, very brave. This is a 4v5 situation, and Roccat realize they can go in.
Vander at the front here as well. Is he going to keep going through for it? Still has Flash. Still has Tibbers as well to come down into that one, and Millenium just speeding off to safety. And well played there from Roccat. That's going to pretty much time out the Baron at this stage of things and weathering the storm that Millenium could have thrown their way.
Very successful defense there from Roccat. They managed to defend all but one tower. They stopped the inhibitor push. They managed to mitigate the strength of that Millenium poke. You notice that as soon as Roccat felt the engage possibility wasn't there, the Tibbers engaged, for example, from the side, Roccat backed away. They moved straight back to the inhibitor turret and said Overpower will come in from behind. Kerp used his satchel charge just to try and make some distance from the rest of Roccat and just got insta-gibbed by Overpower's Mordekaiser.
Oh, the goal continues to flutter around, but keeping the advantage over for Millenium. A lot more items starting to come in. Void staffs for both mid laners in this one. We can see the top lanes just continue to build up in terms of tankiness. Kevin in particular is pretty beastly. That Ravenous Hydra start has now turned him even, well, he's not only doing the damage, but he's got that Randuin's in there. He's got a Thornmail in there, an extra Negotron cloak on top of that Spirit Visage as well. Hard to kill him, especially when you factor in that almost inbuilt Guardian Angel.
Yeah, the Bloodwell's going to be very important. It's also going to allow Millenium to go for a tower dive if they want to. They're a team that's not afraid to force a fight if they feel they have an advantage. And if you look at the stats, it's a 7,000 gold lead. But getting past an inhibitor turret is the most difficult turret to break. There's that side vision we talked about. If Millenium can know where Roccat are, it allows their bombs and their rocket grabs to become exponentially more effective. Roccat can't flank without Millenium being aware, and Millenium, they're going to get to this turret with this next minion wave.
Oliver trying his best to get as close as he can without taking the poke, and they're going to successfully do that one. Cocoon lands on Kevin, not really the person that they're looking for to maybe start things off on that front, and he's going to start to hit here. Kerp with the elixirs running, he's got the blue buff on, his cooldowns reduced significantly, he's got enough mana to spam all day long here, and that's something that might force Roccat to retreat at some point in this.
What we need to watch in this team fight is, first of all, how effective Vander's engage is with the flash tibbers, and secondly, who does overpower target. Kerp's got himself a Zhonya's Hourglass. The QSS is on the side of Creatine, so there are some tools to mitigate some of that damage, and I definitely want to see who he tries to burst down. It may end up being somebody like Aranea, but Ara also has that Banshee's Veil. Now Creatine's on the turret, finally got some auto attacks down, but Millennium Siege is not necessarily the strongest. That's about 3 waves worth of minions, and they've only got about a quarter of the HP down.
Their siege is not the strongest, but their top lane is pretty damn strong at this point. Loads of armor in there, tanking things up. There comes the ultimate out of Kerp, and they're going to try and really force the one. And there is the Vander Panda at the back, though. 3 of them getting stunned up, but they don't do anything about it. The hook missing. They've at least forced the turret here. Aranea going to tank that one up. Millennium take the first inning turret of the game on their side. Are they going to keep going for this one, though? They've got 45 seconds to Baron.
The initiation power from Roccat is severely reduced. As you said, the Vander Panda is not there. It's not a massive AoE stun, or at least it's going to be a lot less range. The rest of Millennium are trying to get to this inhibitor. There's the stun!
They've got to go in for that one. It's Aranea that goes low, but have they got the damage to finish up? Facing the whole goes through. Shutdown comes in. Aranea is in ghost form now, chasing through as well. The rest of Roccat coming up with the back. Kevin pretty much perma-slowed. That briefcase didn't quite land. They're going to kill off Aranea here. All bittersweet, taking down one of your own teammates in the end. And even then he doesn't die. Goes back over.
That was a very good engage from Vander. Flashes in, throws down the W, holds 2 members of Millennium in place, and we said, who is Overpower going to target? And right now the focus was on Aranea. They get themselves a kill, they defend the inhibitor. The problem is, Roccat are having these small wins, these small victories, but they're still losing presence on the map. Millennium had siege for an incredibly long time. They got the tower down, and this has allowed them to get on Baron. They should be able to finish this before Roccat can get in play.
I believe that they will as well. It's gone very, very low, and there is the pickup for Millennium. Nice little bit of Baron work for them, and actually Zazas here, right at the front of them. We can see they're thinking about when do we flash, delaying it as long as possible. 2 of them flash away. We see Kevin jumps over the wall as well, and Roccat a little bit too late to come out from that one. They fall further behind.
So Millennium managed to get themselves yet another victory. They grabbed the Baron under their belt, and now I want to see if they're just going to siege up, say, the bottom lane, for example, and try get another turret, or maybe even the top inner turret, which is still standing, or if they want to make a beeline for that inhibitor. When Roccat were facing Millennium's Baron for the previous time they secured it, Roccat did not force a fight. They waited. They waited until it was a perfect moment to blow somebody up. And you have to feel that now with the lead being even greater and with the risk of losing a fight being greater, Roccat should most likely play this even more defensive.
And let's see Dragon going down, and that will be the 10,000 gold threshold here for Millennium. We have seen teams, I don't want to jinx them at this point, we have seen teams lose from having bigger leads in the past, so they still need to be careful about this one, but that slow but sure progression through the map like we saw down on that inhibitor turret in the mid lane will surely have to happen across the map as well. In fact, the only turret that's left standing outside of the base, also outstanding I suppose, is the top inner turret, which I guess is not going to last long as they dive towards Aranea, and he just kicked him back.
Aranea do not want. He was not interested in that when he had no support of his teammates. Just gets rid of Sullivan and gets out cleanly. In the last moment or two, Kerp picked himself up a Guardian Angel, so he's even less of a priority or less of a possible target for Mordekaiser. In addition, Creatine grabbed himself that Infinity Edge, so his damage has just been amplified a massive amount. I think the weakness of that Mordekaiser in a game like this right now is the fact that whoever he wants to burst out, if it's going to be Kevin, you're going to pop his Bloodwell, or you have to get his Bloodwell before you focus him. Aranea is going to have his Banshees pop, but again, you have to commit a lot just to be able to deal damage to him, and it doesn't allow you to just 100 to 0 him with that Mordekaiser.
Oh, they're out of position here as well. Roccat Millenium moving straight down that middle lane. The inhibitor, of course, is completely open for the taking. Roccat are getting themselves off to the side, but just Ziggs alone offers so much zoning power in this scenario. We see that the traps came down from Caitlyn to stop them coming through, and for now, Roccat have repelled that attack.
Well, we'll see if Millenium decide to keep this up. They still have that Baron on for a minute or two longer, I believe. Banshee's once again popped by Aranea. Roccat will split up. Vander's been the only form of initiation for the team, and he doesn't have Flash available for this fight, but he does have that Talisman of Ascension. Creating keeps poking down the inhibitor. A couple more auto attacks. This is going to be the inhibitor.
Yeah, Kevin just going to sacrifice a bit of his health there. Not really a lot even to tank that one up, all the damage that was thrown his way by Roccat. They get the first inning of the game, and it's clear where they're headed now, straight towards the bottom lane where minion waves are starting to stream in. Meanwhile, Kevin is going to push that mid lane out, try and give them two things to work against here for Roccat, but in the end, doesn't look like they're going to get it. It'll be a similar thing. Time, really more than just forcing your way in. Wait each time he comes down, but you can see the damage. Those turrets don't last long at all.
And this is the strength of Millennium's composition. We'll look for the Rocket grab, see if it can catch anybody, and even if it doesn't, the threat is there. Rocket needs to stay so far back, they can't clear the wave. Overpower's wave clear is very, very short range. And yes, Celavan Caitlyn probably has some pretty good clear, but that's it. They don't have Ziggs bombs. See Millennium just going in, poking it down, dashing away. Hook does not connect on Overpower.
Very, very close from that one. Overpower breathing a sigh of relief, no doubt, from that one, as we only need one more hit, I think, from Creatine. There it is. So it is going to be finished off. That leaves them 7-5 up. This inhibitor now open, as well as those super minions working their way down that middle lane, and it's going to be Overpower, I think, that has to go up there, clear those ones out, and then get back down if they want to keep this inhib alive.
Vander has Flash available, and I think that's why he's moving a little bit further forward. He's going to have to go in soon.
Oh, here we go. There's the Tibbers coming down. He catches mostly Aranea. Jankos gets knocked up, but he will repel out of it. Overpower's right in the middle. Lots of damage coming through. Millenium pull Overpower, but there is the Zhonya's used. What can Roccat do about it? Nothing. Shutdown comes in. That's the mid laner now dead. They're going to go for Vander. He won't survive either. This inhibitor is going down. Roccat are going back to the fountain to heal, but they've already got super minions coming straight down that middle lane, and look how fast those Nexus turrets go down. The first one already picked off. 3 men from Roccat are on the fountain. They pull one off. Jankos is going down to Kevin. Celavan might die to Creatine here on the fountain as well, or Creatine might fall foul himself. Doesn't matter. Nexus turrets are down. Nexus goes down, and that is the last place team in the LCS Millenium, taking down the league leaders Roccat. What an important victory for their season.